Hey, what's up, Plus Ultra fam? It's me, Plus Ultraman, and today we are back again once again to see what happens in a timeline where Piccolo has his change much earlier. As always, a quick recap. When we last left off, Goku and Piccolo had gotten in some very beneficial training at King Kai's and arrived to fight the Saiyans right on time. This resulted in only two casualties, Chiaotzu and tragically, Gohan. Enraged at this, Piccolo and Goku took swift revenge, and the decision to go to Namek and revive them much quicker was made. We return to this timeline right now. On their way to get Goku and Ten Shinhan to the hospital, Kami speaks over the minds of everyone in Bulma's ship telepathically and informs them that at the moment he was in Otherworld consoling Gohan, who was going to be allowed to keep his body for his heroic attempt to stop the Saiyans. He explains that Gohan would be going to stay with King Kai until they could wish him back, and that he would walk him down Snake Way since it was such a long way for him, because Chiaotzu had actually made a pretty good head start between his and Gohan's death. That revelation calms Goku, and in turn he's able to relay that information to Chi-Chi, making her calm down. They're then able to get Goku and Tien to the hospital. The next day, Bulma arrives with a very smug grin and reveals that Capsule Corp has been developing a spaceship using the parts of Raditz' ship. Remember, it would have been intact in this timeline because Gohan wasn't put inside of it to bust out of it. She also reveals that they had found a much older ship that they assume must have been Goku's old pod. She then goes on to reveal that the ships would be fully developed in 6 months. Piccolo, hearing this, has the same idea as Goku in the original timeline, and asks if it's possible for them to create a machine which can increase the gravity. This happens while Tien actually commissions a new prosthetic hand that he could fight with. The next 6 months for the Z Fighters are spent in bed, resting and recuperating, though sometimes it's spent in telepathic contact with Kami and Gohan to console and encourage him. We actually get very sweet moments of Goku, Piccolo, and Chi-Chi berating and even complimenting the boy. Goku and Piccolo even get yelled at sometimes for trying to give Gohan little tips on what he can start training on. Other than that, we see Tien and Piccolo do a lot of meditating, and even light sparring from time to time to get Tien used to his new arm, while Krillin just tries to keep Goku entertained. 6 months later, a senzu bean would be delivered by Yajirobe, and Bulma would come to the hospital to inform the Z Fighters that would be going to Namek that the ship was ready for departure. Something interesting in this timeline is that she herself does not have to go. Either Krillin or Tien could learn how to fly the ship themselves. And she's a bit mad that Yamcha did not decide to go. His excuse was that Earth needed someone to protect it, but we all kind of know why he's staying. Goku, after his Zenkai boost here, would go from his 16,000 power level to let's say a 20,000. And Piccolo feels this and is very keen to catch up with his brother. Let's say his constant meditation and light training with Tien has given him a very small boost and to put him at 15,000 even. The next day, the Z Fighters are almost ready to go to Namek. And before they embark on their quest, King Kai contacts them to inform them how Gohan and Chiaotzu are doing, and warn them that right now an evil force had invaded Namek. He is very adamant that under no circumstances are they to challenge anyone of the name of Frieza. In fact, avoid any conflict with them. Now, hearing how scared King Kai is of this guy kinda gets a fire lit under Goku and Piccolo, but they do concede to their master. Also, Piccolo, being raised by Kami, is much more respectful of the title of Kai, and promises that he and Goku and the others would under no circumstances confront Frieza. They board their ship and decide to train for the next 6 days. Now, Goku in the original timeline got 7.5 times stronger on his trip to Namek by himself. But here he has Piccolo along with Tien and Krillin, who are some pretty strong training partners. That being said, Goku can get Zenkai boosts from his training, so I'm going to be applying different increases for everyone here. And this is all happening under 100 times Earth gravity, mind you. For Goku, I'm going to apply a 12 times boost, because Piccolo can give him a very good challenge and he can get Zenkais, though Piccolo, Krillin, and Tien will be getting the same boost of 9 times. They are getting gravity training and strong partners, but they aren't going to get Zenkais, so I want to make them pretty uniform. 6 days of this harsh training later, our heroes land on Planet Namek with knowledge that Frieza was already there and that they would need to lay low. So those Frieza soldiers that found Bulma and the others in the original timeline are in for a very rude awakening when they pick a fight. Krillin capsules their ship and activates the Dragon Radar, locating the nearest Dragon Ball, which I'm going to be leaving as Dende's village, even though the original timeline, they should be about 6 days late. They head to the village and struggle to watch the massacre of the Namekians there. Once the Namekian warriors arrive, Piccolo gets a bit of hope, but is snuffed out as he sees Midoriya take them down as well. By this point, he was snarling in rage, yet he still does not want to break his promise to King Kai. But when he sees Midoriya aim that attack at Cargo and Dende while they run away, he can't help himself. He quickly flares into a Kaioken times 20, which he had practiced a bit, but still could not control. And he flies straight towards Midoriya, deflecting the blast and speeding forward, taking the head right off of him. Blinded by rage and without thinking, Piccolo zooms forward and lands a punch right on Frieza's face, just as his Kaioken fades. The punch is just enough to knock Frieza out of his chair and across the field, shocking Zarbon to his core and making him drop one of the Dragon Balls. Thankfully, Goku was thinking fast and tells Krillin and Tien they have to act now. Krillin grabs Dende and Cargo as they're running away, while Tien flies over to the Elder and tells them they have to leave now. Goku rushes over and is actually able to grab one of the giant Dragon Balls, while also slinging the almost paralyzed Piccolo over his shoulder, berating and praising him as he blasted off behind the others. Elder Mori thanks them profusely for saving his child's life, and directs them to fly towards Guru's house, leading the way there. This now leaves Frieza with 4 Dragon Balls, the Z-Fighters have 1, Guru has 1, and one of the Namekian villages has the last one. Frieza recovers from the punch easily, and roars at Zarbon to track them down now, but Zarbon replies that they can't without scouters, and the Namekian had already destroyed them all. Frieza only snarls and tells him to call in the Ginyu force, and get his Dragon Ball back. During their flight, Piccolo tells Goku and the others that even though Frieza can't sense energy, and they aren't following them, they should still fly relatively slowly, that way they don't set off anything, to make sure they aren't tracked. After about an hour, they make it to Guru's finally, and once they get rest, Dende and Cargo, being very grateful to Piccolo for his help, decide to help him out and heal him. Together, they get him back up to full capacity, where Nail, sensing such huge hidden energies, comes out and is amazing in Namekian as strong as Piccolo. But Mori brushes past him, telling him to take them to Guru ASAP, and he quickly explains the situation to him. Guru, after hearing his entire explanation, considers everything, and allows the group to use his home as their base for collecting the Dragon Balls, as long as they use one of their 3 wishes to wish Frieza and his forces off the planet, and use one of their wishes on the Earth's Dragon Balls to resurrect the Namekians killed in the invasion. Goku and the others are more than happy with this deal, and easily agree to it. But then, Guru stops everyone, saying he has a gift for them, seeing as how their quest is so noble. Yes, everyone here in this timeline is going to get their potentials unlocked. To avoid a lot of confusion and mental gymnastics, I'm going to make the initial power boost here be 5. What you get beyond that depends on your individual potential. So, with their power boost, the team all pour over the Dragon Radar, seeing where the rest of the Dragon Balls are. Krillin is sent with Elder Mori to gather the Dragon Ball at the village, and Nail and Tien are set to stay and guard Guru and their Dragon Balls. Piccolo and Goku will be attempting to sneak into Frieza's ship and steal his form. And yes, I did say sneak, even with this new power putting them above Frieza in his first form, and Piccolo already having struck the tyrant, Piccolo is still adamant about following King Kai's order and not attacking Frieza. Though Goku really wants to try him out, and is still trying to contact King Kai to allow him to fight. Once in contact though, King Kai is still adamant and tells him do not fight Frieza on any circumstance. Piccolo is completely fine with this, and decides it's too big of a risk to set off a scouter by flying, even if they lower themselves to the absolute lowest they could go. He decides that he and Goku would probably run pretty fast, and that's how they'll get there. But this will take a while. So, over with Krillin and Mori, they end up getting the Dragon Ball and convincing the Namekians in the village to follow them back to Guru's, as they'd be safer there. Back with Goku and Piccolo, they finally made it to Frieza's ship, and Piccolo has come up with an idea to distract them. He creates a multiform clone and sends it to the front to start attacking the ship with weak blast. A few seconds later, Zarbon and a few stray Frieza soldiers fly out in hot pursuit of the clone, who flies off fast and disappears over the horizon before dropping his power and circling back to merge with Piccolo. While Frieza's forces are on their wild goose chase, Goku and Piccolo begin to move into the ship quick and quietly, moving around to try and find those Dragon Balls. But both their hearts stop when they find them all in a room with Frieza, who thankfully had his back to them. Piccolo then telepathically communicates to Goku and tells him that they need to make another distraction, and Goku surprisingly comes up with a very good idea. He communicates to Piccolo via telepathy, and Piccolo is actually shocked. A few minutes later, Frieza hears a quick call of "hey" before seeing a blur of orange and hearing solar flare. He then feels intense pain in his eyes and closes them, growling and yelling at whoever it was. When he opens them back up, he has an incredibly angry snarl on his face and checks to find his 4 Dragon Balls are still there. In fact, nothing in the room was displaced. He then hears "hey Lord Frieza," but cuts off whoever said it with a death beam, being surprised when he turns around to find a Frieza soldier. The trembling soldier next to the new corpse informs Frieza that they had not found the Namekian yet, and that Zarbon was still looking. They then hear strange theme music and chanting outside, and Frieza begins to smirk. Back with Goku and Piccolo, we see the two of them both with giant Dragon Balls in their arms, laughing as they ran. Piccolo commends Goku on his brilliant idea to make fake Dragon Balls with the clothes beam, and Goku thanks him saying he would have fought, but he didn't want Piccolo and King Kai mad at him. Plus, if he showed King Kai how strong he'd gotten, he might allow him to fight Frieza one day. A while later into their run, their hearts sink as they see 5 figures flying towards Guru's and Curse, flying themselves and chasing after them. Goku throws his Dragon Balls to Piccolo, who hurriedly makes a multiform clone to catch them. Ginyu and the others turn around as their scouters reach power levels and see Goku, who tries to convince them to go back to Frieza and leave before he kills them all. Ginyu scoffs at Goku's threat and tries to reach his full power level, but is shot when his scouter explodes around Sector 1000, and Goku claims that was only half his power. Ginyu, getting over his shock, grins deviously at Goku, and like in the original timeline, stabs himself in the chest and yells out, "Change now." Goku is hit by the technique and yells out in horror and pain as he sees himself and looks down to find himself in Ginyu's body. This is right before the rest of the Ginyu Force begin to attack him. Now, Ginyu, the original timeline, can only access about 25% of Goku's full power, but here, that would be 306,720. So he actually does get a sizable boost. Now Piccolo instantly understands the situation and decides to make another 2 clones, which cuts his power in quarters. This leaves them all at 168,750, which is enough for the now angry Piccolo, seeing his brother's body snatched, to instantly dispatch Raccoon and the others. But the clones are forced to activate the Kaioken and shoot the 330,000 to take on Ginyu and Goku's body. With it being 2-on-1, a real beating ensues on Ginyu. After a while of this, Ginyu tries to take Piccolo's body, but is surprised when Goku in his original body jumps in the way and everything is corrected. He then falls to the ground, feeling all the damage his men had inflicted on his body hit him at once. Then, one of the Piccolo clones grabs Goku as he was incredibly beat up, and they all begin to fly off together. They hear a call of, "You damn Namekian," and a clone feels a weak ki blast hit its back, before it scoffs and aims a blast at Ginyu, vaporizing him. It then refuses with Piccolo, who shakes his head a bit, but decides they can't waste any more time, as he can already sense Frieza heading their way. Once back at Guru's, the Dragon Balls are deposited together, and Goku is given to a Namekian to be healed, which gives him an incredibly big Zenkai boost. Mori then hurriedly summons Porunga, instructing the Earthlings to tell him their wishes so he can translate them. They try to revive both Gohan and Chiaotzu at once, but aren't allowed to, so they make individual wishes for both of them, and use the final wish to get Frieza and his forces off of Namek. Porunga's eyes glow.
"I was able to get rid of all of Frieza's forces but one. One named Frieza himself. He was much too powerful. Farewell."
Piccolo panics a bit and reaches out with his mind, realizing Frieza would be on them soon. He pleads to King Kai to allow them to fight, and King Kai reveals that he and Kami are trying to get the Dragon Balls to transport them to Earth. But he does relent and allows them to fight so they could buy time. The message is heard by Goku and the others, along with Nail, and they all race outside to meet Frieza before he even reaches Guru's. Once there, Goku confidently reveals that the dragon has already been used up, and the Dragon Balls have been scattered and will not be reactivated for another Namekian year. "Not just that, Frieza, I'm stronger than you." He then powers up to his full potential of 40.8 million, which surprises the Emperor. Frieza then laughs and reveals that he has a final form much stronger than what Goku is now. This gets Goku pumped up, and he allows Frieza to go ahead and begin transforming. Piccolo, on the other hand, does an about-face on Goku and begins arguing with him, saying that he has all this power now, and yet this mass murderer is in front of him, and he refuses to use it just for the sake of a good fight? By the time Frieza reaches his 3rd form, and Piccolo can still feel his power growing, he decides enough is enough. At this point, his power boost from Guru had finally stopped, leaving him at a power level of 3,847,500. He then roars out in a Kaioken times 25 with a bit of struggle, but the shockwave of all this power being released so quickly physically pushes everybody around him away. He has a bit of trouble maintaining the technique at such a high level, but he knows he only needs it for a few seconds. With his skin actually red, he charges towards Frieza, disappearing from sight of everybody there, and reappears behind Frieza, slamming his hands down through the Emperor's head crest and actually breaking it off, shocking Frieza and making him stop his transformation. He then lets out a brutal flurry of punches and kicks and throws Frieza straight up in the air, releasing a Super Dragon Bullet with a cry of, "This is for all the Namekians and innocent people you've killed!" Frieza is dead. No Super Saiyan, no Spirit Bomb, no do-over, dead. Goku sighs, realizing he wouldn't be getting a good fight, and calls Piccolo a killjoy, but he flinches seeing the angry look that Piccolo gives him after he says that. All the while, King Kai sputters and raves about how easy that was in their minds. Piccolo, still furious, asks King Kai to wish for the Namekians killed by Frieza to be revived on Namek, and returns to Guru's house, brushing past Goku. Once there, Guru thanks Piccolo for his heroism and makes a very strange offer. Realizing that this was the son of Katas, or part of at least, he offers to fuse at Piccolo. He reveals that his life force is draining, and that he doesn't have much longer to live. He also says that he's chosen Elder Mori as his successor, and has already unlocked his potential and taught him how to make more Dragon Balls. But this, Plus Ultra fam, is up to you. Does Piccolo accept this offer? There's a poll up top, so go vote and find out what happens. Now, in addition to full disclosure, this is what Piccolo is going to get if he does fuse a Guru. He'll receive the ability to unlock hidden potentials and a 4.8 times increase in power. I decided on 4.8 times in power because I've seen a Totally Not Mark video where he decides the power level of Piccolo. And he came up with an idea that the fusion with Nail must have garnered an 11 times boost. So thinking about that, I scaled Nail to Guru, who is supposed to have a power level of 2,000 compared to Nail's 42,000. So 2,000 is 4.76% of 42,000. I rounded that to 4.8, 4.8 times increase. But again, if you guys want this to happen, it is up to you. You have to vote yes for Piccolo deciding to fuse with Guru, or you have to vote no and say that Piccolo disrespects Guru too much to do that. There were some huge changes for the timeline in this part. Frieza was killed really unceremoniously. Namek is completely safe, along with Nail. Goku has not found Super Saiyan, and everyone had their potential unlocked. Find out the fallout of all this next time. And as always, go beyond plus ultra. We'll see you guys later. Hey guys, I found something very interesting and I feel obligated to share it with you. There is a complete Dragon Ball Z animated fan movie that is 51 minutes here on YouTube. It is called Dragon Ball Z Invasion of Tradick. I'm going to link it down below. At the time of me recording this movie has 71,000 views, and that is way too low. This thing is completely hand-drawn. There is no tracing. Has a completely original voice cast and a dope soundtrack. So please, 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 go check this out. It is linked down below. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you do not. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.